So, as promised in my last video, if you haven't seen the last video about being an Otherkin, I decided that I was going to talk a little bit more on it. So, I'm going to tell you about, while I was Otherkin, what creatures I had inside me and what I believed. Obviously, I believed I was a dragon. But I believe that I had two dragons. I had two spirits. This reflected my personality. I called them Moon and Ray. This was just to kind of materialize who they were. Obviously, the idea of that was less of that was their actual names, because if they were dragons, they would have draconic names. They would have something that would do in their own language, in their own kind of mentality. But for ease, I called them Moonlight and Ray Shine. Just very simple names to, materialize who they were. Moon, I had in my head, was a silver dragon. Now, if you know a little bit about D&D, and this was more, like, there's different types of lore and stuff like that, but just, we're going very basic in on this because I don't want to go too heavy on people that don't fully understand dragon history. So golds were intelligent, while silvers were very much wisdom. So my subconscious was pretty much Moon. Whenever I would try and think of what to do, I would put Moon in the forefront of my mind, and I would have full conversations with myself about what needs to get done. Now, this eventually became a thought process that I realized that I have, where whenever I do something wrong or something goes wrong in my life, what I like to do is just break everything down. So I would talk to myself now and go, okay, where did this go wrong? How would this go wrong? And whenever I was younger, what I would do was I had a lot of imaginary friends, and then this just became part of that, where my imaginary friend became even more part of it. Also understand, at this point in time, I legitimately had insomnia. I was diagnosed with insomnia and sleep deprivation. I was put on sleeping pills at one point, but I refused to take them because I thought, first off, I think that sleeping pills are horrible and change your personality. And two, I know how addiction works. I knew that if I started on the sleeping pills, then they'd put me on something else, and then put me on something else, and it would slowly become this upgraded thing. I refused to take them. I worked out my issues by myself. Everything's fine now. There's still times where I struggle. This past week, I've had a lot of personal issues where I was pretty much getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night due to all of the stress in my life. And whenever I'm stressed, I don't eat and I don't sleep. So I got rid of a little bit of that stress recently. I've been able to sleep. I've been eating a little bit better. And it's slowly getting back on track. The thing is, it's more mental, and it's more about getting myself into these habits that are healthy again. Whenever that happens, and I've been able to take care of myself. So if anyone wants to take that as a positive, go ahead. But I had these kind of voices in my head from having sleep deprivation. I would go some days without sleeping, and these characters kind of metabolized in my head. So Moon was kind of the logic part of my brain. It was this, then this will happen. If you do this. So it was very much this talking back and forth to myself, trying to work out my issues. Now, Ray was what I called the one that I tried to put away, but the one that was closer to who I am. Ray was a version of myself that kind of needed caged, which whenever I was going through those issues, doing that actually helped me learn how to meditate. I put Ray as the intelligent, the very snarky, the very angry, cold, serious, stoic kind of thing. And Ray was who I was. I was very quick to anger. I was very quick to action. I still am in a lot of ways, but whenever I was younger, before I got into all of this to begin with, my friends actually started calling me anger management. What happened was, and the reason I got that nickname, I got into a fist fight whenever I was younger. Now, whenever I was younger, I was about 80 pounds in middle school. Most middle schoolers are around 110, 120 pounds. I was on the small side. Maybe I was like 70, 75. They were a little... You get the idea. Anyway, this one kid, a lot bigger than me, a lot more muscular than me. Me and him got into a physical altercation. What happened was we were playing football. It was just pretty much grab football, like two-hand grab, not tackle. And what happened was this kid, he was shoving me around, he was knocking me around. One play, he went up to hit me, and I body checked him, knocked him to the ground. Next play, he body checked me. We're in this like dead heat. I was the only person that could keep up with him on a speed level, and I could jump higher than most of the other kids, even though I'm about 4 to 6 inches shorter than everyone else. I could still do more than a lot of other kids. So this kid on next play went out and tried to tackle me, and I just laid him out. He jumped on top of me, I rolled him over, and I just started beating the shit out of him. And it took 3 people to pull me off of him. After that, they started calling me anger management, because for someone that weighed about 75 pounds to have 3 people that weighed about 100 to 120 pounds have to lift you off of someone that you're beating the hell out of scared people. After that, I stopped getting bullied as much. I got a lot of names, but I never had people like poking me or trying to touch me or like messing with me in a physical way. It was just a lot of name calling and a lot of people calling me ugly and short, all the other terms, but they stayed their distance. So Ray was a physical, like a mental picture of who I was. That quick to anger, that very snarky, very defensive kind of person. Now, I'm still a lot like that. I get defensive over my friends. You can pretty much do anything to me at this point. Like, I've accepted who I am. I know that I'm a weeb. I know that I'm a weird kind of nerd. I have weird taste in music. I was gothic at one point. I'm aware of my past, and I've accepted who I am to a point where I'm comfortable with these kinds of things. Now, I'm still not fully comfortable talking about all of the Otherkin stuff, because I look at it as this really fucked up thing that happened in my own head that I was convincing myself of. It's basically like the level I was with that would have been close to what the Scientology kind of stuff is, like the Mormons, like the very religious Jews. Like, I was very deep in. So for me, that's why I'm so, like, I'm agnostic. I do believe there's still something out there, but I have no idea what it is, and I'm not going to claim I know what it is. But I could never be that religious anymore because of how deep I get, and what it did to my brain. So, anyway, Moon was very much this logical part of my brain. Moon was the pair. It was the yin and yang. So while I had the logic and like very smart, I also had wisdom, and I had this coolness. Now, silver dragons are ice, which it's weird. I can stand both temperatures extremely well. If you put me in the desert where I grew up in Arizona, I can be outside. I can turn those kind of instincts on. I can go without water for a lot longer than a lot of other people. I was used to desert running. But if you also know me, I love sleeping in cold. I like the idea of cooling down. Right now I have my AC pretty much blasting. It's 75 degrees outside, and that to me doesn't feel comfortable. Now, it's weird because at 80 to 90 degrees, I'm not exactly, like, my body's sweating, I don't feel comfortable, but anything past that, even though, like, I make jokes, I'm like, Arizona was so hot, I was able to stand Arizona heat better than a lot of my friends. On the flip side, whenever it snowed in Arizona, I was able to walk out in a t-shirt, and temperature doesn't affect me as much. I have very good circulation in my body, and just I love the intensity of being in the cold at the same time. So I like that coolness, like that very icy personality. And Moon was that manifestation of who I was trying to be, who I want to be. Now, if you know me now, I'm very relaxed. I'm very chill. I don't like, what's the word? I don't like being high intensity all the time. Now, whenever I'm with my friends and I come out of my shell, there's this very kind of bombastic version of me that I call my true self. I'm very much a spaz. I'm very much the, like, run around, screaming, throwing my arms up in the air. I'm very much this, like, loud, kind of crazy person. If you play video games with me, I'm the shot caller. I'm the one that's taking charge in the game. I'm very much the open, loud kind of person. I'm also the all-in kind of personality in those type of games. I don't like sitting back and just playing safe. I like being the very aggressive kind of player. Even on a defensive kind of character. Play to your own skills. Anyway, so I needed something that kind of triggered the other part of my brain a little bit. The part of my brain that says, okay, take a step back and look at everything. Because my issue was I would take action quickly and then think about my actions for hours. So let's say one of my friends told me do a front flip, right? Do a front flip over this giant cushion. So I would do the front flip, and then after that I would record it, and I would break down my front flip and say, okay, maybe I need to start opening here a little bit earlier. Maybe I need to spring into it a little better. My angle's a little off. I was very good at breaking down my issues, but I was very much okay, let's do this. Now, I'm still me. I still had those huge fears, especially whenever I started doing free running and doing flips and stuff like that. There was a video, and if I can find it, I would have loved to upload it, and it was my first front flip. I had no idea what I was doing. My friend was like, here's how you do it, broke it down. He's like, we could try a backflip, but for me, front flips are easier because it's, you know where you're going to go, while backflips are, you know where you're going to land. I feel more in control whenever I do a front flip. Anyway, so I run up, I go into it, I spring, I open up way too early, and I land right on my tailbone. I do it in the sand, which is horrible. You get zero lift in the sand, you get zero ability to push up and rotate, but you still have that. I'll go through my old videos and see if I can find it. I know where it would be. It'll take hours to find, but I can find it. And I think it would be kind of funny to upload to the page, just be like, hey, look at this cringe. So I was very much instinctually on, you have to get past your fears. I had a lot of fears. I had a lot of mental blocks, and having these voices in my head helped me gain confidence in myself. It led me to falling in love with an amazing girl. We're not together anymore, but this person is still a huge influence in my own life. And it led to me getting on the right paths. So even though I cut out the Otherkin, I cut out the dragons in my life, that I still kept a lot of the same mentalities, and I grew from it. So a little bit more on the dragons. Moon was this constant voice. Not only could I talk to them, I could kind of let their personalities take over. So because my brain was so fragmented at that point in time, I would split off my brain and I would kind of role play out what Moon would do, what Ray would do. Walking on the heels of on the tips of my toes, arching my back in certain ways, walking, kind of like holding my hands from like this to this, just very like weird mental things to try and feel more like a dragon. Now Moon, whenever I would act like her, my voice would get a little higher and I would talk a little bit more like this, and I developed a little bit of a different speech. I tried to sound a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more airy, and this personality, it was weird because a lot of people, whenever they go through multiple personality disorders, and I've checked in on this, they couldn't shut it off. Like, you can't shut it off. This was something that I would purposely turn on, and it was kind of its own defense mechanism. So if I was stressed and I couldn't figure something out, and I was looking maybe at homework, okay, how do I get this done? How do I figure out exactly what to do? Maybe, alright, well, I'll break down this homework, I'll do this, I'll get all of these kinds of things. things done. And it actually was a very different, like, you can even see, like, my personality change even whenever I start doing that. Just a little bit, just small tweaks, because whenever I get into it, it's very much the character. It was very much a character in my own head. It's very much a different version of myself, a version of myself that is very, very much more punctual, very much more airy, very much more understanding kind of person. I have a lot more empathy whenever I'm doing these kind of things. Baby, come on, tell me what's wrong. I'm here to comfort you. I'm here to make sure everything is okay. Now, whenever I would get into Ray was more of this kind of badass.
Continue on I-76 East for 94 miles.
Ray was this. Ray was a take no prisoners kind of person. Ray is this very mental anger. That dude screwed me over. I need to figure out a way to get back at him. I need to figure out a strategy not to physically hurt him, but mentally destroy him. I need to get in his head. I need to figure out exactly what needs to get done. When I was in Ray's mode, I was very much more intense on people. I was very much more in your face, very attitude. Very stern about things. And you can even tell that my own personality, like, it breaks through. It's very much more this very raw version of myself. Whenever I talk about rants, whenever I go into details on very political things, on very, very much more open ideologies, that's the kind of mindset that I have. I talk like this, I'm very sounding more upset, I'm very stern, I'm trying to be very punctual, and I'm always trying to force my views on people. I'm trying to force everything, but I'm very sit back, logical, think it out. I'm a strategist. I like to think out every single plan. Now, this became a very manipulative version of myself because I could get into people's heads. Like I said, I was one of the leaders. So I had these two personalities on top of my own. I had my very much this, hi, how are you? I'm talking to you, I'm very open. Alright, we need to get this shit done. Alright, let's talk about exactly what you need to learn. Alright, so how much do you know about the lore of whatever you are? What do you think you are? You think you're a vampire? Okay, let's start figuring out how to do life drain. Let's start figuring out how to meditate, how to suck different forms out. Now, I can get into a little bit on the vampires very quickly. There's 3 types of vampire energy. There is blood energy, there's soul energy, and then there's spiritual energy. So, whenever I would train someone that thought they were a vampire, let's say, now you could either suck someone's blood, which was very much frowned upon. A couple of the people wanted to do that, and I told them no. That risks your human body. You need to figure out people's blood types. You need to figure out if they're STD free, if they're disease free. Just make sure that you're okay with it. Make sure that you have a donor. And I was very much against self-harm. I do not want this. Now, you can have soul energy drain. Now, if you have a lot of pent-up soul energy, let's say someone has a very good amount of energy that they bring to the table every single day. Let's say it was one of the spiritual leaders in our group. We would sit down and we would meditate with these people. And what it was an energy transfer. We would be pushing our energy in, and they would sit there and they would focus on not biting, but kind of sucking in the force of their soul. Now, you can sit there and you can do that, and the other person will feel more energized. I think that was due more to meditation and just focusing on bringing in energy, while you're pushing out energy as well, so you feel more connected with each other. On top of that, there was another one which is just energy that was energy transfer, and then there was, I cannot remember it, that was soul transfer, energy suction. So this was the extrovert kind of personality. It's the kind of person that goes into a crowd and they feel the intensity of a crowd and they just kind of pour it into their body. So if you're around a high energy person, you give more high energy. Now if you're an introvert, you kind of shut down, you're giving off energy. And I didn't know these kinds of things whenever I was going through all this kind of stuff. But the vampires were usually extroverts in a lot of ways. I know that doesn't seem right, but it was people that needed to feed off of other people. That's, in a way, what a vampire is. It's someone that needs to feed off someone else. So I would bring them into malls, I would bring them into areas with high population, and we'd just walk around and I'd say, focus on feeding on people. Focus on seeing someone's energy and trying to push it into yourself. And by that, a lot of people started to feel more encompassed. Now, that was the level I was in. But whenever that was going on, that was Ray. That was very much this, all right, we need to get down the training. We need to get you as healthy as possible. We need to get these things done. We're going to start going on runs. We're going to start practicing different sparring techniques. We're going to get things ready. Now, whenever someone was struggling, whenever someone was having issues in their life, that's whenever Moon took over. Come here, what's wrong? We're going to figure out how to get past this. Okay, your parents are having some trouble at home. Come over, we can hang out, we can play some games, we'll have you relax, drink some soda, we'll drink some alcohol, we'll have a good time, we'll relax a little bit, we'll talk out your problems, everything's going to be fine, I can feel your pain, honey, everything's okay, we'll be fine. And I still have both of those personalities. I still have those built into my system. I'm still a very caring person. Whenever it comes to people messaging the page, there's been a couple people that are like, hey, I lost friends over the anti-social justice stuff. Hey, I've been struggling. My family doesn't understand me. Maybe I've supported Trump. I don't support Hillary Clinton. Is more of the things. And we've had a bunch of people comment on the page. I've talked it out with people. I've worked with people, and I always am very much open to trying to help. At that same point, the reason I'm on the page is because I had anger in me. I had a lot of frustrations. What happened was a few of my friends went from being these kind of anarchist punks of screw the government to being these socialist communists that are calling for more government and the government to do more things while still hating the government. And it really blew my mind that people were doing that. So I started to push back. A lot of my friends were like, it became more social justice type of people. One of my best friends, me and him, we talked politics a little bit. Like, he was a Bernie Sanders supporter, and I broke down why Bernie Sanders is a bad person in a lot of ways, and he and I, like, know our politics. He was like, I want to help the Sanders stuff because I believe what he's saying, but I told him about the policy, everything else-wise, and I said, you can still be a good person without being blamed on being a bad person. And I helped him through a lot of that kind of stuff as well. Anyway, this video is getting extremely long. I think, I'm on 30 minutes right now. But that's more about the dragons and a little bit more on like the rants. I'm trying to make these videos a little shorter, but there's so much in my head about the dragonkin kind of stuff that I went through, and I really hope that you understand more of how my mind works now and the kind of person I was compared to how I am today. It's why I make videos like whenever after the election, why I made the video, why no one has to apologize about Trump. It wasn't an anger video. It wasn't me being angry at people. And my first reaction is, this is so messed up that people were telling people that they have to apologize for voting for Trump. But then my second reaction was, hey, let's take a step back. Let's look at why these people are angry, and let's break down and talk about why people did it and be calm about it. Let's get to that connection on an emotional level. So I hope that helps you understand my personality. I hope that you can kind of understand a little bit more about the Otherkin community and why I left them. I really have, like, it sounds like a lot of positive things in my life because there was a lot of positivity to it on a self-help level. But at that same point, so was Scientology, so is religion in a lot of aspects. There's a lot of good that comes out of it. But there's a lot of inherent evils, especially whenever you quit. Just really fast to touch on it. Whenever I questioned anything, and whenever I left, I had groups, I had my face posted in a couple of the forums and Facebook groups saying, if you see this person, be cautious. If they approach you, to defend yourself. Don't be afraid to attack first. Things like that. Because I was not only a danger to their ideology, I was a danger to the people involved, because maybe I might out them. There was one new recruit whenever I quit that posted in saying, if I see him, I'll make sure that he's not standing or something like that. I cannot remember exactly. And I never met this guy. I never talked to him. I just knew he was new whenever I was leaving. And he wanted to show his loyalty as fast as possible. And it ended up going to court. And I lost a few good friends. Anyway, thank you all for watching. And I'll talk to you all later. Peace.